Vyrah, reporting for duty. Another time together. All right, we're gonna do some more. I watch YouTube and I make content out of it. I feel so simple at times to do React content, but you know, it's content. It's still called content. All right. Let me just check if everything is in order on my side. Cause on my fucking my audio interface used to glitch for some reason, and then I lost like a couple footage just because, And since then I'm like, okay, I gotta fucking check out everything, just because it can mess up. All right. Let's start off with okay. Let's get there. Okay. Right. Let me check if everything is working. Is there sound? Yes, awesome. Okay. Let's... Okay. So, Evo Creo, what the fuck? It looks like Pokemon on this one, like... Where does the... Well, this is interesting, actually. All right. Let me... Oh my... it's fine. Right. So... Yeah. I was at... Evo Creo. How is this not copyrighted? Let's... I'll ask this question and let's check out this trailer. Okay, friends, we finally found it. Copyrighted. How is this not sued? Oh, is this not sued? The video game. It's on IGN. It's promoted on IGN. Does it feels like Pokemon? Yeah. But like at this point, it's like, so the summoning, it's the same. Like, okay, at least like life points is not the same. Arenas are not the same. I guess that Pokemon Namco, right, doesn't do Pokemon games anymore, right? So I guess like, but how they're not sued? Huh? Like there was like a fun game called Pokemon Uranium that was actually kind of like a serious take on Pokemon, right? And it got sued and they couldn't release it. It was a passion project that was for free. So they can evolve just like Pokemon. They have stats exactly like Pokemon. They have levels exactly like Pokemon. Like even the world, like Zenith, like even the nomination is like Pokemon. It's like you get followed just like in Pokemon. The sprites are like Pokemon. Like at this point, it's like I respect the fucking audacity. I'll tell you this. Is it good? Is it not? For real, like on this one, it can become good, but like, to be fair, like complete ripoffs. Because like at this point, maybe it's good, you know, but like complete ripoffs, it's like commercially viable. I'd rather play a fan game like Pokemon Uranium, right? Rather than play like basically like. But if it's not sued, which I don't. Bandai Namco, these companies, they sue everyone. Like, but like, it's not sued. Apparently, like it is like on IGN. Do you understand what IGN is like an official video game YouTube channel? So it's like it's not a random channel promoting it. It's like, I mean, at least, well, with the Infinity plus in Pokemons that there is, like it's really difficult to not copy a Pokemon when you try to do your own Pokemons, right? Like, wishlist Infinity, like, yeah, basically nothing to do with Japanese companies. So, I mean, for me, it's a pass because, like, at this point, it's like, yeah, I'm not into Pokemons, but like. But if it's good, it's good, you know? Like, well, at this point, it's just like, I mean, for me, the question is just like, if you play the game, can you get sued as well? Because, like, the Japanese companies do not laugh about, like, copyright, you know? Anyway. I just need to do my 120th like verification. Okay. Okay. I found like something interesting. Okay, I found something interesting that got like some traction. So apparently, like something. Why I quit WoW as a new player. As a veteran player, I still like I still kind of like to hear like criticism about my favorite game, right? So as someone who doesn't quit WoW, like it will be, I'm actually curious to know what are like what is the opinion of this player. So let's check it out.
Why did I stop playing WoW as a new player? Is it because I didn't have fun? Because I got kicked out of a dungeon for not knowing how to interrupt? Because I couldn't win the Trial of Style even though I was obviously the best dressed troll in town? While I'm tempted to say the last option, the truth is, it's none of the above. I had a lot of fun during the time I played. While it was a lot to take in, as I hadn't really played a game like WoW before, it was—
Yeah, if you never played WoW, I actually like, it's really such an experience, but like it's similar to, I'd say, so as a new player, I think that like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy is, if you want to get an idea, because like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasies, other MMORPGs, but especially these two, but like there is also like Destiny 2, right? If you really want to have an example of what it feels like when it comes to like understanding knowledge and how much it takes effort to actually like understand the game, think about how much think about like because everyone played League of Legends, lol, right? Imagine it is the same experience pretty much, at least in my opinion, as trying to start trying to become a player of League of Legends, not Valorant, not like Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends as a new player. I think that it is the same experience when it comes to knowledge. It's not the same game, but when it comes to like the amount of efforts that you need to do, it is pretty much the same. All right.
such a breath of fresh air to play something new and start down a path that many people had already been down for over 2 decades.
Let me just...
And while I did get kicked for not knowing how to interrupt, I learned it pretty quickly and made sure to smash the shit out of that button for the rest of my playtime. But the Trial of Style is actually rigged because what the fuck? So why
So I play warrior. Okay.
all this did I decide to call it quits?
I mean, play
Let me explain. In early 2023, I stepped foot into Azeroth for the very first time. Pretty much out the gate, I was hooked. I was bopping murlocs, I was bopping porcupines, I was bopping rats, and also got bopped myself. I enjoyed the feeling of progression and the wide variety in the skill tree. Then suddenly, it felt like a spanner was thrown in the works. I was pushed into one of WoW's many expansions, Battle for Azeroth. It felt like I had just walked into a movie halfway through. I was regarded as some legendary hero already, even though all I did was shank a murloc and awkwardly fumble my way around figuring out how to remove abilities from my ability bar. I know that story maybe isn't the most important aspect of WoW, but when you have no idea what the game actually offers outside of the story, it would have been nice for at least a little recap. But honestly, this wasn't really much of an issue. The further I got into the story, the more I started to enjoy it. While I did find a lot of quests to be just copy and paste, collect and return missions, there were also some really cool moments which I enjoyed. But then the moment I had been waiting for, the end game. Once I stepped into Dragonflight, the game really came alive. I felt like I just finished some long-ass tutorial and now it was finally time to play the game. I kind of wish that the game actually started here instead of throwing me into some random expansion, but I was happy to be there nonetheless. The true grind began. I did dungeons, upgraded my armor, found new trinkets, and upgraded my skills. I zugged and zugged my way through Mythic Plus, raids, events, and once I stepped back, I could see all this cool shit I had. Gaz was unstoppable. But then I took a little break and a new expansion came out. In this short time, Gaz went from powerful, rat-killing troll lord to a soft-skulled baby, dropped headfirst on the hard reality of having to grind all this gear again. Maybe this is how the flow of the game has always been, but something felt really bad about losing all of this progress. I understand that there always needs to be progression, but to know that all my hard-earned items were now merely cosmetic did kind of kill my motivation. Maybe that's another quick point I can talk about. Hot take time. I'm not sure I ever really liked how so much content was made to be purely cosmetic. Maybe it's just because I never experienced this until WoW, but I'm more used to gear visually representing how strong you are rather than just looking cool. Because that is what I was doing, and I still looked like a fucking Chad. It'd be really cool to run past someone and see that they have all of this new gear, but what actually ends up happening is I see a night elf with her tits out trying to sell me her OnlyFans. Now, I could be completely wrong about this, but there are over 20 years of updates and expansions, and unless there is some special event where the old dungeons are actually scaled correctly, it's just mindlessly insta-killing everything. It seems like a
I talked about it, and I actually want to replay well, for the same reasons, like I skipped like some expansions, and I talked about it, like scaling, and it's interesting because we, like he as a new player, share the same opinion as me, a veteran player. You should be able to scale instances at your level so you don't one-shot everything. It is really that stupid. I think that like a lot of questing can be interesting. Think about The Witcher, right? The Witcher 3, Skyrim. People play it and they do it for the questing and they like it. World of Warcraft is the same. The storytelling is not the same exactly because like there's a lot to read, but I think that like the player should not be actually forced to one-shot everything if he wants to discover past expansions that are already like under level. It's that stupid because like you walk around and these quests, like for example reputation, sometimes like it's actually like better that it takes more time to kill mobs because like, you know, like all those the gear that you get, etc., like it changes your gameplay and your game style, but like it doesn't like it's like Blizzard should add the option to do past content at rescale level where you do not one-shot everything. This is something that will be really great, and I'm happy to see that like someone else is actually sharing this opinion.
Shame that so much content is basically dead and areas barren. In my time playing, I only really explored BFA and Dragonflight. There was never really much reason or incentive to explore other places unless I wanted a specific transmog. There were times where I just explored for the hell of it, and I thought to myself, how cool playing through this would have been. But it's like it's just been forgotten. I would have...
Exactly. All cool would have been to no one like questing. Well, I get no, like people love questing. People go through. Think about like WoW Classic and people going through the quest of Thunder Fury to just like have a weapon. Like, yeah, it's for the weapon, but like it's also for the questing, you know?
I really liked if there was more of a reason to go back to older expansions. I mean, obviously I could make a new character and level through a specific expansion, but just like when I leveled BFA, it would feel...
Yeah, but like it doesn't. You want to keep your character. You made a character. You should have the option to because technically, like, if you think lore wise it doesn't make sense, you know, like Thrall, Jaina, I don't know, like artists, no matter like what level you are, technically within the lore they're always above you when it comes to, you think like because you leveled up, like you went to a new region, you're more powerful than Tyrande. Yeah, okay. I mean, just no, it's just because, like, when it comes to lore, maybe it doesn't make sense here. Well, it always does, kind of.
Like a single player game instead of an MMO until the latest content is reached, since that's where the majority of the players are. But even then, it feels sort of pointless since you can literally pay just to skip it all anyway. Was that even really a hot take? I don't know. Now to my next.
No, I think that, like, this is a past choice that they did, and technically, like, you know, like the gold farming, now that I think of it, it's so complicated to allow like gold farming, like, or like boosting, but it's a choice that has been made, and it's better, like, better or worse, it's a choice that they did. So hateful or not, these are like company choices. Like, I think now I got used to it. I think taking it, like, you can, the only reality is that you cannot take it away. You cannot remove boosting or gold buying or stuff like that. But like back then when they did the choice, well, they did it. And now, well, it's part of the game.
The reason I feel like maybe I started too late. When I first heard about WoW in the early 2000s, I always imagined that it was a game where player interaction was at the center of it all. I'd heard stories about how you would meet other players naturally in the game, join a guild, organize when you're gonna do a raid, all meet up on the day, jump in a call and send it. So
it was true, but like also like it's a type of game where like people spend like 3-4 hours like per session, per like playthrough each time they play, and there is a lot of downtime. But like the more, like, you really need to do an effort to interact with people in this game, and it's like, it's weird. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you know, like, think about League of Legends, you know, like, you're in the same team trying to win, and people do not like each other. It's been like this forever, and it's like, because you're like, if people didn't took like spend their time like fucking typing that they hate, and they hate the pick of like someone else, you know, like, it will be better, you know, like, it's a part of reality, you know.
for a game that seemed so rooted in player interaction, I was
Well, I completely agree.
somewhat surprised by the lack of it. As I mentioned before,
And the vanilla Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King experience is done and gone. Like, even with classic, like, it changed, and like some people got to re-experience, but even the classic experience is one and gone. So basically, like, these are like it's kind of like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare days of like, or like the early League of Legends, right? It's moments where like you can try to say it like, oh yeah, bro, it's a moment in time where like people acted differently, and you cannot really like do anything about it, which is like, for better or worse, you know.
this is partly because I was forced into dead content where it was super rare to see another player. And if I wanted to join a raid, a dungeon, or have something crafted, I didn't need to look for people or even talk at all. You literally just click a button in a menu and that's it. But then again, I noticed that a lot of players aren't really interested in interacting anyway. And while I did find some really cool players, people just seemed to be locked in, racing to get to the end game as fast as possible. And some of them had very little patience for new players. However, I do think that I had a very different experience than the average player. This is because I'd managed to build a community from my YouTube videos. And once I had this community of people to play with, it was some of the most fun that I have had in a multiplayer game.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the thing. And back in the day, vanilla at Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, it was part of the game to have like some sort of community in any way, because like the content was too difficult to do by yourself, and there wasn't like any like there wasn't any skipping it, you
I
know.
usually stream when I played, and because of this, I found cool people that were more than happy to carry me through dungeons and raids and wouldn't get tilted since I was absolute dog shit. I honestly think that without my YouTube community, my WoW experience would have been completely different. Because of them, I was allowed to struggle and learn during dungeons and raids instead of
But this is interesting because, like, even with the community aspect, he actually changed, decided to quit WoW, which is usually the thing that, like, once you find a community, this is usually like the aspect of the game that actually keep players in. So I'm really curious to know that like, even with his community, what made him quit.
having to go off and study mechanics before I even stepped foot in a raid. I remember that one of my favorite bosses was Razgir. I genuinely had so much fun fighting the stupid purple dragon because in the beginning I got absolutely stomped, but each fight I would learn more and more mechanics until eventually, instead of being the first to die, I was one of the last. And to think if I just had the regular player experience without the help of my YouTube community, I probably wouldn't have had the chance to play like that, and I wouldn't have had anywhere near as much fun. So to go back to my point, I do think that I joined too late and that the way players interact with each other has changed, but I don't fully see this as a WoW problem because I see it in other games that I play as well. I think that it's a change in mentality as people play any game for a long time.
Yeah, this is true, and I think that, like, now that he makes this point, I think that, like, if you play long enough World of Warcraft, you'll find eventually, like, a community. You'll find in like, people that you'll be able to become friends with. But, like, here's the thing: it's kind of like it's really like to like. At least it's not like, let's say, Valorant of League of Legends, where you really can play the game since you play and never make a single damn friend, you know?
Imagine that the majority of the current WoW player base are more experienced players, and it's easy to forget what it's like to be a noob. I got super lucky with somewhat artificially finding a community, and if I had to do it naturally, probably would have been a lot more difficult. So, why did I eventually call it quits? It was a combination of all the points I mentioned before. For me personally, a great game needs a good balance of gameplay, story, and world building. While the gameplay is really fun, the others is where it starts to lack for me. I know that WoW has a great story and so many cool places to explore, but it just sucks that the game doesn't really give you the chance to experience them in their best form. I think that it'd be cool if each new expansion story interconnected with the old ones at least a little bit, to give context to the previous stories, maybe know what happened, and to make the zones still relevant. Also, since I started Dragonflight quite late, the third season was already starting. By the time I grinded out the Mythic Plus and raids, the new expansion date had already been named, and all of my awesome gear was basically going to become useless. I didn't really see the point in continuing at that point when I was just going to have to restart in a month or so. I noticed that T-Mog and mount farming is huge. For some players, it's all they do. I was never super interested in cosmetics, and farming them doesn't really feel fun or engaging. But does that mean I hate WoW or think that it's a bad game? Yeah, absolutely not. Because if it sure had some awesome moments, like getting a new best in slot item, or finally defeating a raid I've been trying for ages, or winning the Trial of Style and definitely not losing every time. Those moments really made the game amazing. Honestly, I really feel like I did exactly what I wanted to do, and now I'm ready to move on. And while I might not be playing now, I'm sure that Gaz will find himself in the future zugzugging once again. But until then, Loktar Oga or some shit. Now, this will probably be my last World of Warcraft video for a while, but I want to say thank you to everyone for watching my videos, even with my horrific upload schedule, accepting me into the WoW community, allowing me to have such a blast. I know that I wouldn't have had played anywhere near as much without you all. So, what now? Well, I won't be playing WoW anytime soon. I hope that you guys will join me on a new journey. I found a passion for game development, and I wish to bring you guys along on the journey with me, just as I have with WoW. I had so much fun playing your game, so let me return the favor and make something awesome for you guys too. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.
And this was an awesome take as a player. Like, really, like, this is the type of criticism that I really like, because, like, he really made some good points, and he truly, like, he was truly able to actually, like, talk about something that that I can understand. Like, it wasn't like completely rage, or like, it was like really good points. Like, if WoW could do better, it will be great. But like, if it's your favorite game, you know, what can you do? Like, Okay, I miss 2000s gaming. Let's check this out.
Close your eyes and envision the days in which you miss the most. Could it be the days of your youth? A very specific memory? Or maybe it's an old friend that you've since lost contact with. There's one thing that we as people can all relate to. It's that we are molded by our memories. And oftentimes we find ourselves looking to revisit those memories we had cherished the most. Being a product of the late 90s and early 2000s, I often find myself mentally living in the past. And given the fact that people seem more nostalgic than ever before, I don't think that I'm alone in this feeling. It's that very same concept that had driven me to create this channel. With my nostalgia being at an all-time high as of late, I thought it would be fun to go back in time and revisit the things I missed the most about 2000s gaming. So if you're in the market for a heavy dose of the past, please join me as we revisit what many claim to be the greatest time for gaming. So pop open a fresh can of Surge, make sure your DVR is set to record, because we're going to be here for a good time and a long time. When talking about the past, there are a lot of defining characteristics that stand out. Nowadays, it may be difficult to picture a world in which we aren't completely enveloped by technology. But back when I was growing up, we had just enough to provide a convenience without completely overwhelming our lifestyle. Cell phones were nothing more than a means of
Gaming being a lifestyle on its own is really like, for example, a change that exists, and that is, well, quite changed back then. Back then it was a lifestyle, but like you really needed to kind of like force yourself inside, where now it's like more of an option, you know?
communication, and the newspaper was still a popular source for current events. The internet felt like a virtual forest of wondrous mystery, and as for the world of gaming, it had felt much the same. So for the average gamer, looking to satiate their curiosity, they would often turn to magazines for their fix. And as someone that used to flip through these gaming mags religiously, I thought it would be a great topic in starting off this video. The very first dedicated gaming magazine was issued in October of 1981, under the name Electronic Games. The cover featured such headlines as "Can Asteroids Conquer?"
Did you know, like, EA Games, Electronics Arts, like, it's just EA Games means Electronic Arts. Like, it's really stupid, but like, since everyone hates on EA, like, maybe reminding it, like, maybe could tell you something, you know?
Space Invaders, inside the TRS-80 color computer, and the mention of a holiday gift-giving guide. But momentum in the games industry was swiftly picking up steam, and the interest in gaming-related publications began to grow as well. Soon enough, magazine stands were filling up with gaming's most beloved mascots, and it was showing no signs of slowing down into the 90s. Now, some of the magazines that were most memorable to me as a small child were Electronic Gaming Monthly and GamePro. These were the magazines you would find in places such as a grocery or local convenience store. They usually
Yeah, fuck it. I'll skip this one. Okay, so this is like 9 months ago, but like I missed this one. Let's check this out. 5 things you missed in Undermine. I really disliked Undermine, but you know.
These are 5 things you may have missed in Undermine. No doubt all of you have been enjoying patch 11.1 these past few weeks, fighting for your cartels, running the new delves, foiling Gallywig schemes, and crashing your drive cars and lampposts. But did you perhaps find the secret Undermine clubhouse? All the food gags? I guarantee you there's a lot you might have missed. So strap in, grab your noggin fogger elixir, and let's go down to Goblin Town. Starting with number 1. Have you guys noticed that many of the citizens of Undermine have a series of unique interactions? Check this out. Playing a miserable old gnome instead of a glorious goblin? Big mistake. Don't worry, the citizens of Undermine will remind you of your poor decision-making skills by throwing some slash rudes in your direction. Isn't this great? That's what happens when you take a gnome into the Undermine. Oh, perk up, buddy. Let's do some dancing. You feel like dancing? Do a slash dance in the middle of town and NPCs will join you to form a dance party on the block.
Oh yeah, actually, like there was a quest, like it's probably like like the weekly, right? Well, like sometimes you need to dance with people. Well, like didn't you like didn't notice.
Want to get into the Galagio to get a sneak peek of what's hidden inside? Sorry, pal, but the bouncers are gonna kick you out. Should've tried a bribe, dummy. Works every time. But hey.
Yeah, this was part of like one of the world quests getting bounced out of Gallywig's
At least
casino.
there's this. This one is my favorite. If you're unfortunate enough to die down here due to some cartel v cartel conflict, nearby friendly NPCs will react to your untimely end. They may laugh, cry, or run up and loot your dead body. Hey, get back here!
I should never noticed and I died a couple of times here. What the fuck?
Oh man, I needed that gold for the repair bill. Okay, so you're still not over the fact that you just got kicked out of the Galagio by the bouncers, eh fella? Well, don't get any wild ideas like trying to break in. You don't remember? Well, I'll tell you. A little while back, these two bozos managed to sneak their way into the Galagio, hoping to snag some of Gallywig's personal stash of gold. Things were looking good at first. A perfect heist. That is, until the escape. You see, they tried escaping through the air vents, and they kind of forgot about Gallywig's intruder-detecting lasers, and the fact that the vents pump out enough noxious gas to make the plague lands look like paradise. Anyway, a couple of gags, a little bit of asphyxiation later, and bam, 2 dead goblins, taken in their prime. So yeah, don't be like those two. If you ever want to see what greed does to a goblin, just look up there. What, you didn't realize that there's the remnants of a heist up in the air ducts of the Galagio? Well, now you do. And I hope that in learning of this Easter egg, you also learned a very valuable lesson.
I don't think
Crime
so.
doesn't pay. Except when it does. Are you someone who wants to get away from all the constant mob warfare, reckless driving, and the frequent safety hazards right in plain sight? If only there were a place to retreat to. A place where you could relax, open a cold Kaja Cola, and read some thought-provoking literature found only in the Undermine. Just don't let anyone catch you reading down here. After all, books are for nerds and mages, not for gangsters like you. So look, if you happen to be by the Blackwater Marina in Undermine, you'll find such a place. Tucked away behind 2 curious turtles, you'll discover a secret little pirate-themed hideaway hidden between these 2 buildings. Let's hop inside, shall we? A comfy chair to sit in, some Kaja Cola to sip, a bottle of wine, and a football. This little getaway has everything. Just look at that pirate flag. Personally, I go here not just to catch up on my reading, but also hide from angry guild members. Ain't nobody catching me when I'm tucked away in here. Seriously, you should see my raid leader on raid night. You think Xalatath is bad? You ain't seen nothing. If you're anything like me, you probably can't drive these new Undermine cars to save your granny's life. You're crashing into everything. Buildings, billboards, food stands, innocent bystanders. And as you realize that you have been given the power over life and death in the form of 4 wheels and a turbocharged engine, you begin to think, if only this death machine had some music to go with it. A whole stereo system. Well, sadly it doesn't. However, if you end up starting a job down in Undermine working for shipping and handling, the task will give you unique music that can't be heard anywhere else in the zone. That's right, turn off whatever you got playing in the background and crank up that in-game music because these tracks are killer. You see, upbeat music always makes terrible driving more fun. With this video, we've been all over Undermine, so maybe it's time for a little R&R, and that begins with a good snack. Or 2, or maybe 7. Look, I don't know if you all have noticed, but Undermine is cooking, and I mean food. All across the zone, there's these holdable pieces of food like hamburgers, hot dogs, and even fancy pineapple drinks. Look, this drink even comes with a sweet little purple flower. Don't get too excited, it's plastic. Nothing grows down here, kid. You see, dear viewers, you gotta understand, In Warcraft lore, people come from all across Azeroth to Undermine just to sample its local delicacies. Roach-covered hamburgers, roach-covered hot dogs, it's all delicious. And don't knock it till you try it, the insect parts add flavor. Check this out, to wrap things up, as a final little food-related Easter egg, let's turn our attention to this overworked peon NPC. A fan favorite for those who have stumbled upon him, he so elegantly embodies the modern workplace experience. If you click on him, he says,
Work is to poop. Too hard. Make me tired. Life's sad. But then burger. Burger worth it.
As an expert on peon company morale practices, I could safely say yes, the burgers do make all the long hours worth it. Cold pizza in the break room works great too. Isn't that right, overworked peon NPC?
Me busy. Leave me alone.
All right, geez, that must be one good burger. And there you have it, folks. 5 things that you may have missed in Undermine. From friendly NPCs to steaming hot dogs down by the beach.
Yeah, this was like fun interactions. Like this is a fun fun small video about like Undermine. Like especially like so long later, like a patch later. But like, you know, Easter eggs are Easter eggs. I'll be right back. All right. I'm back. Let's keep on going. So I found like something interesting once again. This is like a World of Warcraft cinematic undead rogue in Tenaris. This is such like a creative like concept. So let's check it out.
Victory for Sylvanas.
Hello.
Okay, I love everything about this. Okay, I will sub PopLab AI. Congrats, like big up to PopLab AI. I really love the storytelling. What the fuck? So first off, like, you know, like, wow, it seems like so like like really like friendly and stuff. It's actually really dark, by the way. Like, think about like the race of undead, what they look like, and it's like really like puts you in perspective that this is the the rogue that like a lot of like character play, and like for once you don't feel like completely you don't feel powerless or like uncool, you know. Then it's like the little story of like, imagine just like the mount, right? So think about like undead and the fact that like an undead mount is really terrifying when you think about it compared to like well, people that are alive. I like the fact that like between undead they find each other, and it's like, and basically like he had like some sounds from WoW, but like basically like just to kind of like make you understand. And it's really like he goes onto like a wanted assassination, you know, and then he fucking walks back, and you know, like the quest about returning the head of someone to prove that like you killed them. This is what it looks like, actually. You know, like the small quest about go kill one and get the head of like to prove. It's really messed up, technically, you know. So yeah, I like it. I really like it. Thank you, PopLab AI. This is so AI. Like storytelling can be based on, you know, like basically like you take a story and you make it AI, and you make it basically like something like based on a story that already exists. But here, PopLab AI took just the universe, right? So World of Warcraft, and he created his own story because he probably plays Rogue and he wanted to fucking say something. And like the little touch, she looks absolutely terrifying. Like it's really on sync for Sylvanas, right? And yeah, it's really like look really awesome. Like I really like it. Thank you, PopLab AI, for this video. Okay, let's watch some more lore AI videos. I really love WoW. I really love lore, the lore. AIs allow me to get like more cutscenes. It's basically like I cannot get into audiobooks or like reading all the books. And if I have the chance, I get like I want the cinematic, and yeah, maybe you'll discover why like lore AI videos are actually awesome. I actually find them like really awesome.
Under the silver light of the moon, Teldrassil rises, a tree of colossal proportions that touches the heavens. This is the heart of the Night Elves, an ancient people deeply rooted in magic and nature. Here, in the shadows of this living world, the past whispers through the trees, and the stories of Elune, the moon goddess, can be felt everywhere. For thousands of years, the Night Elves have gazed at the sky, finding strength in their goddess. Elune is not just their light, but also their wisdom, their protector, and the center of their faith. In the dense forests of Teldrassil, a balance between life and magic prevails. The Night Elves share their home with majestic creatures, saber-toothed tigers that move silently through the underbrush, and owls that watch over the land from above. But the heart of this forest beats within the living ancient trees, colossal beings that guard the secrets of this world and protect its inhabitants. The priestesses of Elune play a central role in this harmony. They are the mediators between mortals and the goddess, guardians of the Moonwell, the source of pure magic. Their presence is a symbol of hope, a beacon of light in the darkest hours of the night. In the depths of the forests lie hidden artifacts, relics from a time when the Night Elves were immortal and their power knew no bounds. These objects tell tales of great wars, alliances with nature, and the sacrifices of their people.
Wow.
The Moonwell itself is one of the most powerful artifacts in this world. It is the source of their strength and a bridge between the planes of existence. Yet other artifacts, full of magic and mystery, lie buried in the woods, waiting for their stories to be uncovered. These relics are not just symbols of the past. They are the key to the future of the Night Elves. But this world is not without danger. The Night Elves stand in eternal vigilance to protect their homeland from the shadows that threaten it. Watchers, silent warriors of the night.
Thank you, Remy, for the follow.
forests, ready to give their lives for the well-being of their people. These watchers are more than just warriors. They are the shadows that drive away the darkness, the eyes that are always vigilant. Together with the living trees and the creatures of the night, they are the shield of Teldrassil. The story of the Night Elves is one of balance and resilience, of magic and nature. They are the guardians of the moon, a people who live in harmony with the secrets of the night. Their world, so beautiful yet so fragile, is an eternal dance between light and shadow. This is Teldrassil. These are the Night Elves, and this is their story.
Damn. Pretty much first watch AI is the voice. Like, I'm actually curious. Music credit, subscribe. Like, what's the like the because technically like there is someone reading, right? I wonder if it's AI or if it's the guy. If it's the guy, it's awesome. Like, it really like gives a proportion. Like, you think Night Elves, you know, like really not like that majestic. Look at this. Look at this is like basically wow, the wow that like we got used to, that is like still like this pixelated mess that like needs to be updated. But like this is technically like what we're playing in, and it's like really makes like Night Elves, you know, like people you mock Night Elves because like they're Night Elves and they're sort of into like nature and like being into nature and stuff. Well, I don't know, like crayons, everything like is just like wow. Actually, like I saw like something like think about it, like these are like stones, like it's just like about like rethinking about kind of like what is the game that you play in, and once you add the cinematic compare like similarly to like the expansion cinematics, right, the cutscenes. Well, you know, like it just adds to the color. I really like this. Thank you, First Watch AI, for like this content. Like, all right, let's keep going. Okay. Right. So, Rukia was near perfect. Galen Percher one is actually like talking about like anime a lot. I really love his analysis. Like, I already like saw this one. Like, there is like a lot of things to say. My favorite character as a simp, but also like I think that like just in the balance of the anime is actually Rukia. Like, believe it or not, like within Bleach, I just love the way she represents like optimism. You know, like in this world where like there is like Ishigo that represents like strength and bravery, and basically Rukia just represents like this optimism. You know, this not all powerful but yet like all that righteous and beautiful optimism. This is why I like it. This is why I'm actually curious, because like people usually don't talk about like don't do like over analysis of over like character like this. So let's check it out. Let's see what guy he has like awesome opinions. He is like really fucking awesome. So let's discover what he has to say about like another character, because like he talked about like other characters, and I was like, pretty accurate what he's saying, like and pretty interesting.
Over a decade ago, I went down a path that evolved into an obsession: anime. Early on in this journey, I found myself watching Bleach, and it was in that series, for the first time, I found myself enamored with a female character. Not because she was a waifu, not because she was overpowered, but because she was interesting. That girl was Rukia Kuchiki. As time has gone on, I've learned more about her and revisited the material, which brought me to the realization that her story is perfect. Well, almost. But we'll get to that. To understand the depth of her character and appreciate her immense growth, we have to start from the beginning. 150 years before the main story, Rukia and her sister Hisana lived in the slums of the Soul Society until Hisana abandoned her. Somehow, she survived long enough to bump into a boy named Renji, whom she quickly befriended, and together they put together a sort of surrogate family for orphans like themselves. Sounds nice, right? Well, within 10 years, everyone but those two had died. Rukia and Renji made a promise to become Shinigami to escape the place that had taken the lives of everyone they loved. When they do this, things basically go too well. She catches the eye of a noble named Byakuya Kuchiki. Because of this, she flies through the ranks and gets adopted by his family. But this ends up separating her and Renji before.
Okay, so this scene is actually really interesting, because I don't know if you know the scene. Actually, no one knows this scene. Basically, Rukia says like to Renji, "Oh, by the way, I got adopted." That she got adopted by the Kuchiki family, and Renji do not understand, and is like, "Yeah, awesome for you," and she becomes sad, and there is not like a real explanation on why she is disappointed. But like, what's interesting is my opinion is that she's disappointed because the Kuchiki family is at this point again stranger, and Renji was her only friend, you know, her only true friend that like she lived with in the society, and etc, right? And basically, this moment is really like emotional, because like you really need to kind of like care about like the characters, but like for some reason she becomes like disappointed, and she says like, oh, whatever, you know. And this whatever, I actually felt that like it was really like, we're still alone, man. Like these people are complete strangers. Like I thought that like you'll be sad that like I'm separated from you, you know. Something like that, you know, instead of like going into this fake happiness that like they both have to share, because they come from like the slums, right? They were poor. Like this is really interesting that like he actually chose this scene, because like I was watching it and I thought about it, and I was like, god damn, like I don't know if it's true, but like it makes sense to me, you know.
she can express her feelings about it, Renji congratulates her even if he doesn't mean it. Her feelings don't matter. You don't speak out against nobility. But hey, with the new family, she'll be gaining new relationships, right? Ready to bond, big bro? Rukia basically traded harsh living conditions for harsh social conditions. Byakuya appears uninterested in her. The way she flew through the whole process and ended up in what sounds like an ideal situation put her on a pedestal she didn't ask for. That makes making normal relationships difficult. If they weren't envious of her, they were wary of the power her family had. She was disheartened by this, and how could she not be? Wouldn't you if you seemingly got everything you wished for, except no one accepted you? One of the deeper aspects of her new family, the Kuchikis, is how associated they are with the color white. It's in their names. They see things as black and white, and they value purity. But she's not like that.
I didn't know that.
This is why when Kaien Shiba, who is part of the same division as her, treats her like a regular person, she's immediately drawn to him. He mentors her and tells her, I'll stand by you. She sees him and his wife as role models because she's never had any. Things are good. Then Cayenne's wife is killed by a corrupted soul monster known as a Hollow. Consumed by revenge, Cayenne goes after that Hollow. Rukia offers to help, but is rejected. This is a matter of pride, so she doesn't intervene. That Hollow possesses Cayenne, who tries to murder Rukia, and this ends with her killing the man who had so kindly accepted her. This is the most traumatic moment of her life, and her guilt from this plays a huge role going forward. So far, she has cycled between loneliness and finding friendship, and because the positives of the cycle are always fleeting, each time she loses someone new that's important to her, it hurts her worse. It gives her a tremendous fear of losing people she cares about and a lack of feeling like she belongs. She is a
And like one thing that is important about Rukia is that like when it comes to like being a noble, respecting authority, and just being respectful of like traditions and stuff, she's a character that is depicted as someone that will never like dare to disrespect traditions, to disrespect like rituals, to disrespect like, and so within this like comes a loneliness, because like a lot of people are not as respectful as Rukia, and this is what I like, because she's this optimism, but also that is respectful and understanding of the world that surrounds her. And this is why I really like simp, not simp, no, it's just like understanding that like this is like really a character that like is really more complex and really more colorful than it looks like, but you kind of need to think about it to understand it. I guess you just need to be a fan of Bleach, right? So it doesn't look like I try to be like to snub anyone, right?
Shinigami. She is a Kuchiki, but she doesn't feel like either. But her life changes when she meets Ichigo Kurosaki. When she's sent on a mission to the land of the living, she meets him, a human who can see her, and when they're attacked by a Hollow, his devotion to protecting his family and the desperation of the situation leads her to giving him half of her power so that he can slay it. Except he accidentally takes all of it. A man named Urahara witnesses this, and with his expertise crafts her a body she can use in the human world, while also regaining her power. All of a sudden, she's been given something she's never had before, a regular life. Instead of poverty, loss, or expectations, she receives freedom and joy, being around.
And basically, like, she goes back in high school, but technically, like, she's 150 years old in the anime. Let me check out. Yeah, 170 years old. She's more than 170 years old. So you understand, like, the type of, like, she's not old, but she's not young, but, like, getting this type of, like, life experience is actually, like, something way different when, like, you're a Shinigami that is, like, more than 150 years old, you know? Like, compared to, like, an adult character in another anime. Like, because in Bleach, like, a lot of characters are actually like really old, even though if they sound different, if they sound like young, you know.
Ichigo, she makes friends. We see the lighter parts of her personality. She hangs out in closets like she's Harry Potter. She adorably can't open a juice box, and she excels at giving hand-drawn PowerPoint presentations. Somehow, this girl who has known so much loneliness and craved mentorship becomes a mentor to Ichigo. It's more than that, though. When she stabbed him to give him power, she shared something more, her soul, and their bond runs deep. There's also a sad parallel between the two. Ichigo feels tremendous guilt over the death of his mother, much like Rukia does with Cayenne. So when we see the Hollow that killed Ichigo's mother appear, it's a cycle repeating. Ichigo, like Cayenne before him, tells Rukia not to intervene, and she listens. Ichigo lives, but this weighs on her. It doesn't get easier when she's asked what her relationship with Ichigo is. She's grown far too attached to him. You'd think that's a good thing, but for her, this always ends in loss. Her power has
And people, like, you have to remember that, like, within the story of Bleach, Rukia becoming attached to a mortal, to Ichigo, it's actually like she becomes attached from, like, someone from another world, from another caste, you know? And this is, like, really, like, more, like, strange and unique, and also, like, so, like, technically, like, something that will not last, you know? Should not, you know?
isn't returned either. She decides to distance herself from him by leaving, and she does not want to be followed. While in this vulnerable state, Renji appears, then Byakuya. What she's done, giving power to a human, is a serious crime in the Soul Society. Remember, Byakuya is a stickler for the rules, and she can't stand up to him. That's when Ichigo
And technically she is as well, like, and respectful just out of, like, respect of the tradition, respecting of the world that she lives in, you know?
arrives. A fight ensues, but her brother is too much for her friend. She can't watch another person she cares about die. So before the finishing blow, she bluffs and says, he's not worth killing, just take me and go. She tells Ichigo off too, trying to dissuade any potential for future harm to him, and then she's taken back to the Soul Society. From here, it's a whirlwind of emotions. She learns she will be executed for her crime, but what truly breaks her isn't the punishment, it's everything else. The guilt of Ichigo getting hurt because of her. The weight of Cayenne's death looms to the point she feels her execution is justified. She learns Ichigo is attempting to save her. She senses Renji's spiritual pressure vanish, wiped out by her own brother. Then to top it off, Cayenne's brother Ganju is part of the team trying to rescue her. It's all too much. Then Gin Ichimaru gives her one more metaphorical dagger to the heart. He says, I'll help you escape. And for a moment, she feels hope again. This forces her to confront the fact that she does want to live, that death is an excuse to stop her pain. But Gin only said it for the lulz, to give her hope, then tear it away. And that's exactly what it does. As she's waiting to be executed by Firebird, she makes one final request. Please spare her friends. Even now, she's worried about losing others, and you can see the lack of value she places in her own life. When that request is agreed to, this is the closest she gets to feeling at peace. And it's at this moment that Ichigo arrives and saves her. No matter what happens, he will always be there to do so. Her life has value, especially to others. It makes sense that the person who breaks her mental shackles is the person she essentially shared her soul with. She can feel his strength, and while she won't thank him, she does smile. But
And, like, technically, like, you can see what I was saying about what I like about Rukia in the way she accepted her own execution. Like, if you watch the anime, like, basically, like, I'll say it again, like, the reason why Rukia is my favorite character in Bleach is basically because of how respectful and just honorable she is as a Shinigami, as a character, as a heroine, as a person, right? And basically, like, what I like about it, like, if you watch Bleach, basically you can see that, you can confirm that by how she respects her own, like, execution. She is completely aware and accepting of what the judgment of the civil society above on her, and she does not fight back, you know?
this doesn't fix everything. She wants to help, but she's told no, again being helpless to defend someone she cares about as Ichigo takes on her brother. Oh, there's been something looming in the background during all of this. When Urahara gave her a human body, he added something called the Hogyoku, which
Holy fuck, brother, where you been? How are you? I'm doing great, like, just doing, like, right now, like, doing my like stuff on the side, doing my content, like doing my reaction duty, because, like, stuff actually works. How have you been? Like, and I'm basically, like, basically I'm watching YouTube online and it gets used, like, might as well, because, like, some of the stuff that I watch actually, like, brings me like wants me to go to need like I need to go to therapy after watching it. So I'm like, here, I'll share to you my whole fan of anime because I'm a big fan, you know. How about you? How was your day? Thank you for blessing my day once again by your presence.
Is still inside her. This is the reason her powers didn't return before. It turned her self-loathing, her feeling of powerlessness, into reality and kept her from recovering. This is also the real reason she was sentenced to death. It was a conspiracy to retrieve the Hogyoku. Aizen extracts this from her, but her life is spared when Byakuya of all people comes to her rescue. But it makes sense. Ichigo defeated Byakuya, and this shifted his perspective. Long ago, he married Hisana, and she felt tremendous guilt over abandoning her sister. She made him promise to find and protect Rukia. This is why he brought her into his family. Up until this point, he had been torn between two conflicting oaths, one to his wife
I'm good, man. Happy to see you back. Thanks so much.
and one to uphold the rules. But seeing how Ichigo managed to shake up the entire Soul Society gave him the strength to choose a path. He may not have shown it, but he has always cared for and wanted to protect Rukia, and here he can finally do so from Aizen.
Yeah, and basically like Byakuya is also like someone exactly like Rukia, but is way more weak. You will think like he is weak because of his own personality, but he is more like trapped in the Soul Society than Rukia is because because they are the same, because they share a mentality that is similar, but where like you will think that like Byakuya Kitsuki is actually like someone that is powerful because of his status in the Gote or stuff like that. No, it's absolutely like he's probably the weakest Shinigami in the whole Soul Society, just because of how rules that surrounds them and the world that surrounds him actually like force him to be, and how like some things that he agreed upon as himself actually like lock him up in certain situations where, like, for example, well, he has to betray Rukia, he has to go against his own like moral, you know. And that's like what I like and what I find interesting in Bleach. It's like some things that are like about like Japanese traditionalism, Japanese like, let's say, like way of the samurai, you know, like to be really like way of the honor, you know, that I really like and that are really interesting and that are really well portrayed in Bleach, as because within like this cast of Shinigamis and the Soul Societies and the Gote and everything, you know.
You can rely on him now. After all the neglect, all the apathy, how out of place he made her feel, he finally apologizes. This is something she desperately needed, both for her heart and her identity. She wasn't as alone as she thought. While this seemingly closes one open wound, there remains another, and now she's not going to sit back and be passive about it anymore. She gains the courage to approach Cayenne's siblings and apologizes for their brother's death and not having the courage to do so earlier. Until now, she hadn't felt like an active participant in her own life. She wants to showcase her resolve now and make decisions for herself, first of which is staying in the Soul Society. But the story isn't over. Recognizing flaws is not the same as overcoming them. From now on, she'll be different. Her power returns. After spending so much time being protected by others, she's capable of protecting them back because, like Ichigo, that's her nature. Ichigo inspired
Even like within like the way she is powerful, I really like the way. So I said again and again that like the heroine that the Rukia is, that I really like, is the respectful and understanding of the world, Shinigami, that of the world that surrounds her, right? And this, you can even see it in her fighting style, which is like, she is not good at fighting, she is good at using kidos. Kidos are basically like magic spells within Bleach, and basically like this is really like cool because if you understand what I'm trying to explain about like why I like Rukia, you probably understand. It's like once you understand this, it's like she's really like this, like not all powerful, not all mighty, but like really like powerful within its presence and personality character that really like made me like really love this story. And
Prepared her to move forward, and when he's struggling with his inner hollow, she does the
she's technically like not this sidekick character that basically is next to the main character that says, yeah, go, you know, like do your best, you know, like basically like a supporting character. She's like, she doesn't have like this like all like, she's not like this sidekick, you know, like that like really is always like trying to support. Like she's more than that, and I think that like as a side character, like she's really interesting. It is called, so there is like a protagonist, and basically Rukia is called a deuteragonist. Like she's a good deuteragonist. Let me check if it's the real name. A deuteragonist is the second most important character of narrative after the protagonist and before the protagonist. But basically, like, you have the protagonist, right, the main character, and then there is the second main character, you know? And this is like really interesting. All right.
same for him. Before, she stood idly by when her friends fought. Now, she aids them of her own volition. It's nice to see someone who has struggled with her place in life and society, then put in a position to help someone else going through something similar. Orihime feels useless, and Rukia supports her the way she wished others had supported her.
Yeah, but like right now I'm actually like asking myself, like, technically he only compliments her. He was saying like was nearly perfect so far. Like so far he says like nothing too bad, you know.
She's living proof that you're only in the way if you lack resolve. But character growth is rarely linear, so let's test Rukia's resolve. Orihime is captured and Rukia finds herself face to face with Cayenne. Here, her weakness reemerges. When he asks her to atone by sacrificing her life, she agrees. But something is different. She needs to save Orihime first. Cayenne tells her to slay her friends, and it dawns on her, this isn't really him. He would never ask her to do that. She defeats the man wearing the face of her greatest failure, and in the process, she conquers the trauma and guilt associated with it. Later on, when Ichigo loses his powers and his ability to see her begins to fade away, she tells him, don't worry, even though you won't be able to see me, I'll be watching you. This is why I like her so much. We see so much growth in her character and she does it for herself. The typical shonen girl complaints being useless, over-sexualized, not developing, being one note, none of these apply to her. She overcame her.
This is true, and she has like this really like Rukia is beautiful. Like, look at what she looks. She has really a beauty that is really that is really like achieved and thought of, and is not superficial at all. Like, finding Rukia beautiful like I do, like, is something that like really is not like something that like you get a lot in characters, because like she is not like basically this like waifu that like really like stupid looking and is just pretty, you know. Even within like her beauty, like she's nothing special unless you really care about like the way she acts, the way she her philosophies, and the way she reacts, and the way she actually like interact with the world that surrounds her.
Trauma and guilt. She found value in her own life. She's gone from passive observer to protector and shown her resolve. Great story, right? So why is she nearly perfect? I hate to say it, especially...
Yes, because technically we're at 11 minutes. There's 2 minutes left, and we're like, so far, so good. What's the problem?
If you've come this far, but here goes. Rukia was the first character Kubo created. She was the first character we see in the anime. She kickstarts the events of the series. And now, she's a side character. It's not that her story gets worse, it's that she isn't around. Here's when it hit me. After a decade of not watching, my admiration for the series had waned considerably, but I decided to...
Wow, this is actually such a fair criticism. That she is not as a like a deuteragonist as a side as the main character. She is not there enough. Like what a beautiful compliment to the character, and what a beautiful critique of the anime, because I completely agree. Thinking about it, yes, Rukia Kuchiki needs to be more in the story, but at the same time, it's not a criticism. It's basically saying that like, no, that's true. It would be nice if we had more of like the character, like, but like what a surprising conclusion. Like on this one, like I didn't expect it, that the criticism is that like characters like really awesome in the way it is, and the only problem is we don't see her enough, and it's like. Wow, subscribe to Galen Berger for real. His analysis of anime is so awesome. Goddamn.
Pick things back up with the Fullbring arc. After going basically the entire arc without her, when she finally arrived, out of nowhere, I started to tear up. I had no idea she meant that much to me as a character, but clearly she did, and those emotions couldn't be held back. That moment was part of the cycle too. At the beginning of the series, it's her stabbing Ichigo that awakens the power inside him. In the Fullbring arc, his power returns by her blade once again. Or in Thousand Year Blood War, she comes face to face with a man who defeated Byakuya. His ability is to inflict fear on his opponents, but here it doesn't work because she's technically not alive? What? Turns out, her true power allows her to drop her body temp below freezing so she's unaffected. That's cool, but that can't be how you defeat fear. Like the rest of her story, there must be struggle, which is why, of course, her opponent makes her feel it anyway. And it's the same fear she's had all along, that of losing her loved ones. And when Byakuya saves her, you think maybe she's reverting to leaning on him too much, but no. He acknowledges her strength and her as an individual, then leaves to let her finish the job, which she does by unleashing her Bankai for the first time, all white, tying all the way back to the Kuchiki white symbolism stuff. It's perfect. Unfortunately, these are the only two moments she has in the last 60 episodes of the series.
Yeah, but I think that like this moment was awesome enough, because the power level, like this, basically like it was a Bankai that was never revealed before, and basically she says one word and everything is fucking dead. And it's like she doesn't even fight. She just unleashes her Bankai, and I'm like, it's fair enough. It's fair enough, because like technically, like at this point, like it took all this story, and we didn't even see her fight at full level. We just saw her just show her full level. Like she didn't even fight. It was done. But I agree. I completely agree. The criticism that we don't see... Rukia was nearly perfect because we don't see her enough. I actually absolutely agree. What a fucking legend, Galen Berger. Subscribe to this man. Like, this man is a legend. Alright. Okay. So, I actually like artists, international artists, and I heard from like this artist called Victor Tsoi. It's a Russian artist, and basically, to give you an example, is really like the Beatles from Russia. It's kind of like he has like a band called Kino, and basically he has done like or like Guns N' Roses, I guess. Like someone like he's really like a rock star, like like Jimi Hendrix. It's not because he's talented, but like it's really like this kind of like one guy artist that is really, really, really known in Russia that I really, really like. And I'm like, I just want to check out like a documentary about him because like, and might as well like share it to you because why not, you know?
The song you're listening.
Yeah. He hasn't like basically like anti-war and really like just like peaceful type of like songwriting. Like he was like basically preaching for peace in a country where that was like really, it was really dangerous to even like talk about the government, you know. It was during the Soviet Union, like it was Russian, and basically yeah.
To now is from a band called Kino, whose frontman and main creative force, Victor Soy, is a legend in his home country, but relatively unknown in the rest of the world today. You'd be forgiven if you assumed he's a K-pop star or a member of a Japanese new wave band. But once the lyrics drop in Victor's typical laconic delivery, it's easy to hear that he's from Russia. A keen observer of the mundane, Victor found poetry in the everyday, expressing what the disaffected youth of the country perhaps felt but dared not speak. As a result, he became an icon for a generation who rallied around his message of quiet rebellion and change. His life began with an artistic wild streak, painting and selling portraits of Western rock stars to sell on the black market of Leningrad. Despite finding success as a musician, Victor never stopped painting and was fascinated with the world of cinema, taking the name for his band from the brightly lit marquee of his local movie theater. He was the son of a Russian physical education teacher and a Soviet Korean engineer, and due to his unusual mixed-race heritage, he found himself an outsider in a country of alienated youth. Kicked out of art school at 15, he worked a number of odd jobs and started writing music a couple of years later. He and 3 other bandmates formed the band Kino in 1982, and over an 8-year run, wrote and recorded over 90 songs on 7 albums. His song Elektrichka, about a man stuck on a train going the wrong direction, expressed his feelings towards life in the Soviet Union, earning a ban by the authorities. He also chafed against the privileges and expectations of fame, preferring fishing and practicing karate to the hard-partying lifestyle of many contemporaries. Speaking of his one and only trip to the United States, he reflected, "Nobody knows who I am there. I can walk around on the streets undisturbed." In the 1987 crime film Asa, Victor and the rest of Kino performed their song Hochu Peramen, or I Want Change, in a surreal ending credits sequence. This appearance swept the nation and catapulted Victor and his band reluctantly to stardom.
Yeah, basically, like, here's the thing, like, people in Soviet Union and in Russia, like, doing public criticism, this song was, like, basically, like, really talking about, like, peaceful change, but, like, really well presented, and basically, like, playing dangerous games, because, like, back in the day, like, you have to understand, like, Russia is not America or Europe when it comes to, like, in the past, when it comes to criticism. People used to really, like, pay for actually, like, acting stupid and trying to speak against the government. These were, like, stuff that, like, you could, like, get arrested just for doing criticism, just for being a critic of the government locally, like, not by doing art. And, like, here's a man that, like, basically, like, gets stardom, like, actually doing this. But at the same time, he was doing this really poetically and really respectfully. Like, he wasn't saying everything is complete, like, waste, like, people are stupid, and no, it was more like the way it sounds, it's more like, I don't know, like, he doesn't know but like things could be better. And this is kind of like the idea of, and one of the things that like probably like made Victor Tsoi like someone really interesting, because like you know about like play stupid games, gets to get stupid prizes. Well, basically like he wasn't playing stupid games. It wasn't like just saying like, yeah, Russian government is stupid, people should do like so better, and everyone suck anyway, you know. No, it was like really poetically like, I don't know, he doesn't know, and maybe maybe it's not the right thing to do, you know, like maybe something better could be chosen, you know. And this is really what's really interesting about like Soy and Kino. It's like the tone that they have is like really adult and doesn't have like this punk, you know, kind of like attitude where it's like, fuck you parents, fuck you the adults, you know, like I have a fucking like I am the youth and fuck you, you know. Like he represented the youth, but it was like really a reserved and like a really interesting, like, you know, like just like peaceful and respectful of what he criticizes while he was criticizing it, you know. Like, and his arguments like can be like understood, and it's like it's not like stupid and really like, and basically insulting people really that are like within this within the country that they live in, that are dangerous.
The song became the anthem of various protest movements. During a 2012 interview, Mikhail Gorbachev erroneously described the role of this song on high-level government meeting in 1985, quoting the lyrics as justification for perestroika.
If you don't know what the perestroika is, within Russia, like after like basically the Soviet Union fell or like whatever, they decided to perestroika, like to rebuild stuff, you know. And basically like it was like a political, economical like choice, and basically like I didn't knew that like Gorbachev actually quoted Kino, you know, like, but this is like how powerful it is. And to make you understand, you know, like let's say Eminem, right? He talks about like the government, right? Eminem, or like, well, Victor Tsoi is more like, is really someone that like well, is not like Eminem, you know. Is more like someone like Tupac, or like the Black American community, well, really respect him, and some people that are within the government like know Tupac and understand like his values and what he was trying to preach about, you know. Like it's really like this idea of like these people, they understood like this game, and it doesn't mean that like one artist is like dumber than the other. It's just that like the cause of the one artist, it was really like way more on another level of like respect and understanding of what's going on, you know. Doesn't mean that like one is stupid, one is not. It just means that like one really talks and really like preach about something that like is way more serious. And well, if you think about Tupac, right, you don't think about like gang wars or like supporting like being happy about being a celebrity. You think about like changes and wanting to make the world a better place, you know. Like well, it's kind of the same with Kino, with Tsoi, you know. It's not about being a rock star.
Uncomfortable with fame, Victor and the rest of Kino left Russia and toured parts of Europe in 1989, re-recording a number of their songs in France for a European debut, finding it a necessary but frustrating trip. In an interview, Victor reflected on his trip. Russia's a popular theme in France right now, but we're like Matryoshka dolls to them. Hey look, Russians can play guitars almost like we do. I can't say it was a huge success because people were expecting something Russian and exotic, and we delivered rock music. If you want to go abroad, it's best to go as a tourist.
Damn.
Dressing almost exclusively in black, his influences ranged widely, from the Smiths to Bruce Lee. And while the band's lineup fluctuated over the years, Victor's consistent creative output sustained the band, and he came into his own as a bona fide icon, until his unexpected death in 1990 in a car wreck at the age of 28. Driving home from a fishing trip, he drifted into oncoming traffic and collided head-on with a bus. A collision so violent that the rubber tires of his Moscovich 2141 Aleko were never found. At the height of his fame, Kino had just played a concert for 62,000 people in Moscow earlier that year, an experience that left him with this to say. For the most part, it doesn't really matter to me where I'm playing. My apartment, an underground club, a concert hall with 10,000 people. Either way, I'm doing what I love.
Wow, this is the conclusion of an artist that like got. This is the conclusion of an artist that went from poor to being rejected by an art school to do did odd jobs in the art industry and other, who actually achieve fame, money, and well, basically notoriety. And this is his conclusion that like it's just about the music, man. Basically, like this is the conclusion of a man that like basically is a legend in Russian music, you know. Just about the music. Wow, this is powerful. This is really powerful. I didn't know.
Despite dying far before his time, he lives on through his music and in the hearts and minds of those who witnessed his work. On December 31st, 1999, a Russian radio station asked listeners to vote for the top 100 songs of the 20th century. 10 out of 100 were by Soy, with the #1 spot going to his song Grupa Krovi, the song you heard at the beginning, off the album of the same name. His legacy is so strong and message of change so dangerous that in 2014, a prominent Russian politician claimed that his lyrics were written by the CIA in order to destabilize the motherland. Today, tourists can visit the Soy Wall in Moscow, and the basement boiler room he worked in before reaching stardom, which he ironically called Kamchatka, now a museum and rock club. Unfortunately, he died never having seen the change he so desperately called for, in which he basically had no reason to ever expect. But much to everyone's...
Yeah, that's also like something, because like, and this is something that you can understand, like when it comes to the lyricism of Soy and his way to actually like criticizing the government, basically like it wasn't like with any hopes that things get better. It was with the understanding of reality, because like a lot of these songs are about like, they're really about like, well, it could be better, you know, but like that's how life is, you know. And but doesn't mean that like a single rock star can change things, you know. And basically this is what I respect about like this artist, because like there isn't this expectation of like some poet that is just like doing politics about, hey man, like I don't know about you, and everyone is scary, and but like maybe let's be nice, you know. Like there is like this expression of that he needed to say it and that he said it, but like it's all like there isn't this like really hatred, you know, like this there isn't like this kind of like teen type of like way to be, you know. Like there is this really like this it's really interesting. It's just really interesting.
Surprise, only the next year, the USSR fell and the world changed once again. Considering the world today, this is an important lesson for anyone touched by cynicism, but still hoping for something more. Viktor Soy's life, work, and legacy are an evergreen message that the youth of Russia, and indeed, the entire world, perhaps need to hear again today.
Что-то изменилось. Наконец-то Я не знаю, что это за перемены, но это что-то изменилось, хоть немножко.
This was awesome. Thank you so much, Freechard, for like this little documentary. I actually love this artist. Like, if you never heard about like some like the most known like Russian rock legend, like check it out. Like if you don't, like I get, don't worry. Alright, let's watch honest game trailer, Warcraft. I want to check it out because like Warcraft. Anyway.
The following trailer is rated H for honest. From the developers that dominate the MMO genre, the digital card game genre, the team-based first-person shooter genre, and the click stuff until loot pops out genre, comes the game series that defined the generic fantasy RTS genre for over a decade, Warcraft. Descend into the Tolkien for 13-year-olds universe of Warcraft, where you'll raise massive armies and formidable warriors and command them to destroy your foes by furiously mashing keyboard shortcuts like
If you ever play StarCraft, like Warcraft is like something basically like StarCraft, but like basically like, oh my god, like when I started playing StarCraft, I discovered about Warcraft, right? I was like, I'm bad at StarCraft. What the fuck is Warcraft about? Oh, there they fucking like make it even more complicated because like having a hero and stuff, it's basically like StarCraft, but like you have heroes in it, like unique. It's like it's way like it's kind of different, like
a coked up court stenographer.
Yeah, exactly. Like a crazy stenographer. This is basically like the idea. Like, check out.
Conquer the fabled world of Azeroth, a medieval fantasy land plagued by endless conflict because demons are assholes, where you'll choose sides in a battle between sort of good and sort of evil, maybe. Based entirely on which side has the more overpowered units, featuring the Alliance, your standard fantasy dream team of normal people, tall people, and short people. The Orcs, a race of terrifying steroid fiends who are actually pretty nice once you get to know them. The Scourge, the people that like their gruesome horror to be adorably cartoonish. And the race that's just more elves because they had already run out of ideas. I don't know, I guess make them elves, but purple? Whatever. Experience the history of Warcraft's brutal bloodshed firsthand as you dive into a series that spanned a decade while only really putting out 3 games, like the original title that started the franchise,
that nobody played,
which plays surprisingly well even 20 years later, the sequel that introduced an entire generation to the joys of the online RTS,
that nobody played,
if you could ever get it to connect to anything, and the third game that reinvigorated the genre with
that everyone played, that everyone knows, and that basically is the game that actually made the game. Like it's really like the two first like made the game, but like for the like Warcraft 3 is really on such a different level compared to like the other 2 games.
Hero units, special troops with unique abilities that added even more micromanagement to a game that already felt like herding cats blindfolded, and an unprecedented modding system that allowed immense player creativity.
Yeah, and basically like Warcraft 3 allowed like the creation of MOBAs, so like League of Legends, so it was created out of like a Warcraft 3 mode. A MOBA means multiplayer online battle arena, right? And basically Dota, Defense of the Ancient, was actually created on the kind of like game creator of Warcraft. Basically like Dota was created on Warcraft, and I do play Warcraft 3 back on back in 2007. I actually didn't. I was actually like I actually never. During this time, I was more into like other games. I actually started like with World of Warcraft, then and StarCraft, and Diablo 3. Like I never got into the game like other than that. Like, and when I wanted to try it out, I was like, it's the micro and stuff. Oh my god, no, thank you.
And eventually led to the creation of the MOBA. That pretty much killed the RTS genre entirely. Good going, guys. Blast through the Warcraft campaign modes. Overly elaborate storylines.
That was what was interesting about Warcraft, is that like each races they had like a campaign. Like technically it was like the base. Like you think that like back in the day games were like strategic games that were giving like so much. Think about like a Command and Conquer. So basically like there was like the Scorpion, like basically like kind of like Russian looking kind of like acts of evil, right? And the allies, right? Like with the kind of American, right? And basically like each like side had a campaign to them where like, and it in Warcraft each races, so undead, night elves, like orcs, humans, and basically like later on like they added more. Each had like a storyline, and basically you could play like the storyline of each one, and then each races add a like basically like Tiberium, like basically like Command and Conquer. It was like 2 races, and they went like Warcraft 3 went from 2 races as a basic like RTS, so strategy, real-time strategy game, to 4, 5. Red alert, yeah, red alert.
Designed to justify a series of epic battles. With boring story-focused chapters where you'll click a set group of units through a map until everything's dead. And much better levels where you'll actually build up your base. Then employ careful unit compositions and detailed tactics to take down your enemies.
Yeah, basically like I kill everything on the map the same way, but like it is just like there is like some layers of gameplay that doesn't make you feel that like you're just like creating units until you can click somewhere on the map and you just win. Like,
or just spend half an hour hitting the unit cap.
A click means attack plus click. Usually like A plus click means that like your units will attack anything in between, like, and go to the where you clicked. And basically you the point is that like when you start the game, you basically create units and you A click here and you win. After that they add like stuff, but it's basically now you create like yourself the units and you A click again, and it's the same gameplay, but it's complicated enough so you don't feel like you're just doing A click.
Then attack move to the other side of the map while you experience the real draw of the Warcraft series, clicking on dudes until they say funny stuff.
Me so horned, me hurt you long time. You're the king? Well, I didn't vote for you. Hey, puff puff give.
Once you've developed your master strategies offline, head into the online mode where none of that will work, and you'll face cheesy tactics like early timing attacks, mass summoner strategies, and tower rushes. But mostly you'll just get destroyed by people who can hit keys faster than you, until you learn to stick to 2v2s like the casual that you are. Trust me, it's better for everyone this way. So strap on your replica Frostmourne, practice saying Zug Zug, and get ready to craft some wars for the last time. Because the way this movie's reviewing, it looks like it just might bury the franchise forever. Starring Lich Bitch, 500-pound beef patty, Make Azeroth Great Again, Blaze McEdgeman, Birdman, Short Stack, Most of the Porn, Treebeard, Thrall in the Family, and a bunch of forgettable demons. Craft macaroni and war. You know you love it. Huh. I wonder if the sheep say something funny too. Let me just click them a couple of
It
times.
exploded.
Oh no. Oh jeez. Oh,
I know.
why?
Be sure to
Never played the game, but like such a fan. Alright. Alright, and there was like another one that I wanted to check. Guess what it is? So, they actually re-released it. Reforged. They never released Warcraft 4. Maybe someday they will. Like, sometimes, like, I really don't understand. Because, like, they're really, like... For real, like, it's really difficult to mess it up. But I guess they have infinite money. Blizzard. They have infinite money. Why not Warcraft 4? No, Warcraft 3 Reforged. No one liked it. It was glitched as fuck. And it was really disappointing. Let's check out the honest trailer of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Oh, Warcraft 3 Remake. Like...
In an era where every game developer's favorite trick is to rewrap their old games in a shiny new resolution and charge full price for them all over again.
Skyrim. Like, there's like a Skyrim with how many remakes did this game got? More than 13.
Witness what happens when they go George Lucas on it instead and try to fix something that extremely wasn't broken. Spoilers, everyone hates it. Warcraft 3 Reforged. Travel back to 2002 and relive the glory days of Blizzard, when their tried and true "we'll release it when it's done" philosophy meant you could expect a good game at the end. And shudder.
It's insane because, like, the game Warcraft 3 looks good enough to be playable, and Reforged doesn't look good enough for it to be a viable like reason to actually stop playing Warcraft 3. This is how bad it is. Whereas like this game is not looking good enough to be an alternative to Warcraft 3, while Warcraft 3 is still looking like it is a good looking game that survived like the modern era, right? And it is looking good enough for you to not buy Warcraft 3 Reforged. Which is really funny because it's like, they did such a beautiful game, that the remake that they did, really, it made like, it made more like the promotion of the other game that really didn't needed a remake unless it's like a really, really good remake.
As you recall how much micromanagement Warcraft 3 actually requires. And the RPG-style heroes aren't that exciting in an age where every game has leveling and items. So you slog through the two types of campaign levels. The ones where you start with just a few dudes that are impossible to lose. And the ones where you spend 20 minutes hitting the unit cap and then attack move the enemy base. All to get the 2 or 3 story beats per campaign that actually matter. Then jump online to test your lack of skills and get massacred by people who've been playing for 18 years straight. In a gameplay experience that somehow makes you feel less nostalgic for the original than you started out. And only could have been produced by the version of Blizzard that Activision hollowed out and is now wearing like a skin suit. And if you think that's an offensive visual, you should see the graphics they put on this thing. Feast your eyes on the bizarre decision to update Warcraft 3's art style as Blizzard shifts from the original cartoony flair of the...
Yeah, see, like, it looks good enough, right? It really looks good enough. And then you see the Reforged and you're like, it looked good enough, and it's not good, like the remake, like the Reforged version is not like updating, like it's not upscaling the graphics enough for this to actually not be the best.
Classic game to a more realistic look that's less Blizzard and more Chinese mobile game.
Do you guys not have phones? Yeah, you guys all have phones.
And
oh yeah, the phone
doesn't
thing.
Make you feel great about paying $30 for Warcraft 3 again, which will probably get worse.
At least it's not 70. I gotta be honest, like $30. At least it's not 70. Some people like really make you pay like $70 for a remake of a game where it's like So it looks good enough. You can pay like the $3 like the original game costs now, and it's like for real.
Once you realize the updated cutscenes they promised mostly aren't in the game, and the ones they did change don't actually look much better.
Exactly.
Did Morganis just return to his home planet? Then go back to the original visuals and realize that your campaign progress is tied to which look.
I bet modders can do better to reforge the original than Blizz. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just like it's such a beautiful, such a great game that like it will take a lot of work, but like I'm pretty sure that like if there was like someone obsessed with Warcraft 3, like it will have done a better game just using mods, because like the mods like, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Shazam.
Use. So you'd have to start the whole game over again, because you, I guess. But hey, at least that opening cutscene is looking real nice. It's like, what if we had actually cared about this product? Discover the true victims of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Actual Warcraft 3 fans. As Blizzard decide.
Because like basically like the community that was left in like basically like the online community that was on Warcraft 3, well, basically the network was cut out or something.
It's to merge the original game's client with the new one, which is missing a ton of features the original War 3 had, like clans, profiles, automated tournaments, and custom campaigns. And then makes them sign a new EULA that says they own anything the players make in the custom game system.
And that was just because Dota became Dota 2, and basically they were like, no, don't do like what they did with Dota. And I'm like, very funny, but like for real, like they got traumatized by by Ice Frog so much. Someone called Ice Frog like created a game in their fucking like in their mod like game creation. They got so traumatized by one man called Ice Frog. They were like, if you do something like Dota 2, it belongs to us, okay? And I'm like, this is such an admission of the fact that like they never understood. But like technically it's fair play, man. Like they do know on the Lord of the Ring Battle of Middle Earth, a small team reforged a game fan made. Yeah, no, like sometimes like the owner of the IP usually can allow it if it's like a passion project, and if they share like basically if they share like some of the money that they make out of to actually the people who owns the IP, right? But like at the same time, it's like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
so Blizzard doesn't have any more easy money slip through their fingers like Dota or Auto Chess. All so they can continue to play the same game they've been supporting for almost 2 decades. In a face slap to the fans that couldn't have been worse if the game just opened into a JPEG of a middle finger. So purge those unclean and grab the Frostmourne that is this video game, as you experience firsthand a company draining every last drop of goodwill from its franchises, leaving a joyless husk of their original glory, like a beloved stuffed animal that you no longer can imagine to life. Okay, maybe that's a little melodramatic, but this thing sucks.
Turn away before it's too late.
Starring Mussolini, Captain Cockblock, Water Sports, the guy in the horror movie that is definitely dying before the end, Goth Girlfriend, the Bitch King, Dancing in Ironforge for tips, Malfurion, Good Doggos, Original Edgelord, Milk was a bad choice, Gold Dead, Needs More Chillidan, and Unfettered Corporate Greed. Warcraft 3 Refund.
Yes.
I haven't seen a developer self-immolate this quickly since, let's see. Oh, everything else Activision has acquired. Tell us what you'd like.
Alright, this was awesome. Alright. Alright, thanks so much for coming by. Thank you so much for coming by, Suzanne, and I'll leave you there for now. Like, I have like my other like priorities and duties going on. So I'll see you later, and I'll see you online. All right. Have a great one, and as always, be toxic.